Hello YouTube, Sir Dragon X here. I recently did a video on the immigration crisis in Mexico, which caused some controversy and raised a lot of questions. Today, I'm going to answer some of your questions, but first, I have a very important advisory issued by the United States Embassy in Mexico through their Emergency Alert Information System on their website. Let's talk about it. Before we start answering questions, I am going to read to you this advisory issued on October 13, 2021 to all United States citizens traveling or residing here in Mexico. U.S. citizens are reminded that if you enter Mexico by land and plan to travel beyond the immediate border area, you must stop at a National Migration Institute office to obtain an entry permit, Forma Migratoria Múltiple, or FMM, even if not explicitly directed to do so by Mexican officials. When traveling in Mexico, the law requires that foreign visitors carry a passport and entry permit. You may be asked to present these documents at any point. If you do not present these documents, immigration authorities may lawfully detain you for up to 60 days while they review your immigration status. Immigration checkpoints are common in the interior of Mexico, including in popular tourist areas far from the border. U.S. citizens resident in Mexico should carry their resident identification cards at all times. Actions to take. Obtain entry permit, FMM, at INM office if entering Mexico through a land border and traveling beyond the immediate border area. Carry your passport, entry permit, and FMM with you. For citizens who reside in Mexico, carry your resident identification card. So, what does this advisory mean? I was attached to the State Department as a diplomat in Mexico and Latin America, and I can tell you that this advisory was issued due to one of two possible reasons. Either the country of Mexico sent a diplomatic note to the United States Embassy advising them of issues that they were having with United States citizens, or the embassy and consulates are receiving complaints and reports from actual citizens of issues that they are having with Mexican immigration. Either way, this guidance was issued 2 days ago reminding United States citizens concerning their responsibilities and confirms that the Mexican government is serious in expecting United States citizens to comply with the immigration ID requirements. I think this advisory should clarify some of the questions you may have about carrying your original documents with you at all times. I will be leaving a link to this advisory in the description of this video below. Now, let's address some of the confusion, questions, and controversy that this video has caused. Some of you have asked, what are the laws that govern immigration here in Mexico? The immigration laws here in Mexico are governed by the Ley de Migración Federal de Mexico and consist of 162 articles. I will be quoting some of these articles when answering questions and addressing concerns. I hope this will help you dispel some of the myths and misconceptions people may have. I think the biggest problem is many people confuse legality versus enforcement. Sometimes people are led to think something is legal because it was never enforced. In the past, many of these laws were not enforced, leading people to believe that what they were doing was legal. Just because a law is not enforced does not make something legal. So, the first question is, why won't copies suffice? I always carry copies and they never have given me a problem before when presenting copies. Well, actually, under Article 16 of the immigration law, there are several responsibilities that you have. Under Section 1, you are responsible for carrying your documentation with you that shows your immigration status. Under Section 2, you are required to show that documentation anytime it is requested by an immigration official. Under Section 3, you are required to provide any and all information that immigration authorities need to establish your immigration status. Now, there has been some confusion caused that police can ask you for your immigration status or that police are doing random immigration checks. Police are not allowed to ask you for your immigration status unless they have immigration authority. Currently, with the formation of the Guardia Nacional, formerly known as the Federal Police, they have been granted immigration authority along with INM. In some touristic towns such as San Miguel and Cancun, immigration officials, not police, have been doing random immigration checks in tourist areas. Okay, so why no copies? Bottom line is that in Mexico, copies are not considered legal documents. I know people have said that copies have been sufficient in the past. This is true, but that is due to lack of enforcement, not because it's legal. Basically, legally, it is within immigration's right to ask you for your original documents and detain you if necessary to determine your legal status. Now, can I be deported if I'm not carrying my original legal documents? Actually, the answer is no, if in fact you have legal status and you can confirm that. I think my video was a little confusing and led people to believe that people were being deported because they either didn't present their original documents or were not carrying them. I sincerely apologize for the confusion. All the deportations that I referred to in my previous video were visa overstays. What I was trying to stress in my video is that if you do not have your original documents, immigration does have the right to detain you in order to determine your legal status. Copies of your document are not sufficient by law to prove your legal status. One individual who commented on my previous video indicated that they were detained for 7 hours in Merida until someone could go to their house and pick up their original documents so they could be presented to INM. And I was actually wrong. I was told it was up to 3 days, but according to the U.S. Embassy advisory, it can be up to 60 days. Now, have I heard of any cases of people being detained for 60 days? No, I have not. Now, this is a very common response, not only to my previous video, but to this issue in general. Nowhere in the Mexican law does it state that it is illegal to get back-to-back tourist FMMs, so running to the border every 180 days to get a new FMM is legal. Well, there's some truth to that statement. But if you are running to the border every 180 days for the purpose of residing here on a full-time basis, it is not legal. Let me take this opportunity to explain. Article 40 of the immigration law lists all the different visas for being in the country legally. I am going to concentrate on the main three concerning expats and foreigners. First is temporary resident, second is permanent resident, and last is a visitor's FMM permit for up to 180 days. Under the Mexican law, the FMM is for the sole purpose of visiting. Obviously, if you're residing in Mexico full-time, you are not visiting and you must attain either temporary or permanent residency. Now, yes, there are plenty of reasons for a person to get a back-to-back visa. There are plenty of backpackers and nomads that want to explore Mexico for more than 180 days. At the same time, it is up to the discretion of the immigration officer whether to issue the back-to-back visa. Now, like I have stated in my previous videos, Mexico has upgraded their computer systems. Now they can track your entries and exits. Now they can detect patterns of people abusing the system to get a visitor's permit to circumvent the residency requirements. I know, several people have already commented that they just finished doing a border run with no problems. One thing to note is that the computer systems to track entries and exits are new, maybe even too new to detect patterns. Now, with that being said, there are also cases of people either being denied entry or only given 7 days. According to people close to INM, they are serious about enforcing this. To be honest, only time will tell how serious Mexico is about enforcing this once the computer system catches up. Just be aware that at this time, or any time for that matter, when you run to the border to get a new FMM, you do run the risk of being denied entry regardless. Immigration is under no obligation to issue you another FMM for 180 days. This is another common question. Can I change my legal status within the country? I keep being told that I must leave the country and first apply for status at a Mexican consulate. Actually, yes, you must leave the country and apply at a consulate outside the country. There are exceptions though. For example, if you are married to a Mexican citizen or have a Mexican citizen child. Another is under family unification. This is when a resident petitions to bring in a spouse or child. You can also apply for a change of status if you find a job and an employer is willing to sponsor you. Now, there is one last route that you can take, but has specific requirements. Right now, immigration is running a program called the Regularization Program. This program is for people who have overstayed their visa. The best part of this program is that there are no financial requirements. Be aware though that there are specific requirements depending on the INM office. I do caution though, certain so-called expat services have advertised that they can get you residency no matter what because they know someone or have a special contact at the immigration office. Now, that is a big red flag and indicator to be careful. Some of these scams involve corruption and could be fatal if you get caught up in these scams. This actually happened in Querétaro, where an immigration official was taking bribes to accept regularization applications that did not meet the requirements. Let's just say it didn't turn out too well for the individuals who lost their residency. Make sure you do your research with immigration directly or always get a second opinion and make sure what you're doing is on the up and up. Be careful of expat services that won't publish their prices for their services and tell you that the service will be customized particularly for you so the price varies. Also, check with other facilitators on what they are charging for their services. Oftentimes, these facilitators or lawyers with special contacts will charge double of what the normal facilitator will. And last but not least, be wary if anybody tells you that they can get you your residency guaranteed. Now, here's a very interesting topic for discussion. Many people have said, I heard that according to the Mexican Constitution, the police or immigration cannot ask me for my ID when I'm on the street. Actually, that's not true. Article 11 of the Mexican Constitution states, and I am going to read it, everyone has the right to enter and leave the Republic, to travel through its territory, and to change his residence without necessity of a letter of security, passport, safe conduct, or any other similar requirement. The exercise of this right shall be subordinated to the powers of the judiciary in cases of civil or criminal liability and to those of the administrative authorities insofar as concerns the limitations imposed by laws regarding immigration, immigration, and public health of the country, or in regard to an undesirable alien resident in the country. So you see, according to the Constitution, it's the opposite. Immigration officials, which includes the Guardia Nacional, do have the right to ask you anywhere and at any time for your immigration documents. It is clearly stated in Article 11 of the Mexican Constitution. The last issue I'm going to address is the misconception that tourism and expats hold up the economy of Mexico, and therefore I'm untouchable and there is no way they're going to deport me. Some people even go on further to say that Mexico needs your money, so there's no way that they'll deport you. Now, here is the hard truth. Tourist and expat revenue only make up 8 to 9% of the total Mexican economy. Mexico also happens to be the 15th largest economy in the world by GDP. What expats and foreigners contribute to the economy helps, but Mexico does not need your money. They may enjoy the extra income, but they do not need it. Now, let's get back to the subject at hand. Truth is that Mexico is in an immigration crisis right now, and it has nothing to do with expats, and I have always stated that in my videos. The problem is that some expats are getting caught in the middle of Mexico's enforcement efforts, and for those affected, it hasn't been the best of experiences in their life, and it has even ruined some people's lives because they weren't prepared. That is a fact, not fake news. Look, I'm not here to scare anyone. I just want you to be prepared. I want you to be informed. I want you to know the risks so that if this happens to you, you have a plan B. You can't have a plan B if you are not aware of the consequences. I just don't want you to get caught with your pants down, so to speak, because someone on YouTube or Facebook told you that you are untouchable, or that Mexico doesn't care, or Mexico needs your money, or all you need to do is show up, or it's totally legal to run to the border 180 days, or you can even get your immigration papers fixed within the country, no problems, because my lawyer has the right contacts at INM and anything is possible. Now look, I get it. Some of you can't meet the financial requirements for residency. Some of you may not have the money to afford a new residency card if you lose yours. Everyone has their personal situation, and I am not here to judge. Like I always tell everyone, you need to make your own decisions in the end. My goal is to educate you so that you can make an informed decision, as I have already said. Look, I have nothing to gain here. I don't make any money off this project. I don't sell merchandise. I don't have a Patreon. I don't offer paid consultations, nor do I offer expat services. Now, don't get me wrong. It takes a lot of work to maintain our YouTube channel, and I am not putting anybody down for making YouTube a business, but always be aware, do your own independent research, and consider the source when making a decision. My project started as a nonprofit project and will continue to be a nonprofit project to educate expats on the positives and the negatives. It is up to you to decide what to do with the information I give you in order to make a decision that's best for you, not me. Like I have said before in my previous videos, many people get behind the wheel and drive drunk, and nothing ever happens to them. As a matter of fact, statistics show that when you get behind the wheel drunk, there's only about a 1 to 5% chance that you will either get stopped or be in an accident. Some people drive drunk all their life and nothing happens. But when something does happen, it can be fatal and change your life forever. Look, I want you to move to Mexico. That is why I don't solely focus on informational videos. I want to show you the true beauty of Mexico and want you to make the right decision so that you can move to Mexico and live an awesome life here. Also, for those on Social Security, there's some good news. I just read an article that Social Security payments are going to rise in 2022. It will be the highest increase in 40 years. Looks like it may be enough to meet the financial requirements at some consulates. I also see a change in the Mexican government. They are actually trying to help, as negative as this may sound. They have opened up regularization programs to help legalize people who didn't have the chance before. INM reduced their financial requirements, and it looks like slowly but surely some Mexican consulates are loosening up too. Like I said, where there's a will, there's a way. I don't want to stop you from coming to Mexico at all. I encourage you to come to Mexico and do everything in your power to come. It will be the best decision you have ever made.